Hi, I'm Alyssa Moore-Salvati, Director of U.S. Language Services. I have over 15 years of experience in the translation industry and have worked with clients in both the U.S. and Europe. Since 2018, we have provided translation services to thousands of clients of all types, from government agencies to law firms to individuals. Continuing with our series on licensed professions, in this video, I'm going to go over the ins and outs of how to get licensed as a foreign-trained registered dental hygienist in the U.S. If you're a foreign-trained dental hygienist living in the U.S., you probably want to continue working in your chosen career. However, you'll soon learn that you'll need your registered dental hygienist license to be able to do so. Even though you're legally permitted to work in the U.S., you will have to take additional steps to obtain this license in order to continue working in your field. When you face these kinds of obstacles, you might be discouraged and tempted to find a job outside the field of dentistry, but that won't allow you to use your hard-earned skills and training. Luckily, you can get your foreign credentials validated so you can start practicing in the U.S. The accreditation process can be a bit confusing, especially since each state has different rules. To help clarify the process, we're going to go over the steps you need to take to begin the journey towards finding a job as a dental hygienist. Just a note before we get started. In this video, there will be lots of information on state licensing boards, credential evaluation services, English proficiency and state exams, study resources, and much more. But don't worry, we'll provide links in the description below to all of the resources mentioned. You may be asking yourself, why would I get licensed as a dental hygienist in the US? When you first considered becoming a dental hygienist, it was probably because it would allow you to help others and would provide you with guaranteed job security in the future. People are always going to need help maintaining healthy teeth and good dental hygiene. No matter where you are in the world, there will always be jobs in the dental field. As it turns out, dental hygienists make a good salary in the US. In fact, the average pay for dental hygienists is $40 an hour in Florida and $53 an hour in New York, according to Indeed.com. In addition, dental hygienists can often create flexible work schedules. Dental clinics often offer a variety of appointment times, so patients have lots of options when scheduling their checkups. As a result, you may be able to find a dental hygiene position that allows you to work creative hours to fit with your schedule. And in many cases, dental hygienists work part-time, which could be perfect if you're a parent, in school, or starting another business. By continuing in your career, you'll be able to make use of the degree you already have and earn good money as a dental hygienist. The next thing you'll need to know is who will grant your dental hygienist license. Dental hygienists handle some sensitive tasks in their work. From taking x-rays to administering local anesthesia, dental hygienists need very specific training to keep their patients safe. As a result, it's understandable that dental hygienists need a license to legally practice in the U.S. So let's take a closer look at who will grant your registered dental hygienist license. While the United States has national organizations like the American Dental Hygienists Association and the Commission on Dental Accreditation, you will ultimately receive your registered dental hygienist license from the state you plan to live in. If you're hoping to find a job as a dental hygienist in Orlando, for example, you will obtain your licensure approval from the Florida Board of Dentistry. Or, if you want to work as a dental hygienist in Los Angeles, you'll need to get licensed by the Dental Hygiene Board of California. Dental hygiene boards in each state usually have anywhere from 8 to 10 members. These board members are generally made up of dentists, dental hygienists, educators from the medical field, and business professionals. In nearly every state, members of the Board of Dental Hygienists are appointed to their position for 4 years. Board members play a part in deciding things like how many hours of continuing education dental hygienists will need and which procedures dental hygienists are allowed to perform. For example, dental hygienists in Massachusetts are permitted to cement and remove temporary crowns and bridges, which is not true in every state. Now let's take a closer look at the best way to contact your state's dental hygiene board in case you have questions about licensure, continuing education, or anything else. Due to the fact that each state has its own licensing board, it can be difficult to know the best way to contact them. It can also be confusing because some states, such as California, have specific boards for dental hygiene, while other states, like Florida, simply have a board of dentistry, which awards licenses to both dentists and dental hygienists. In the video's description below, we will include contact information for dental hygiene licensing boards in California, Florida, Illinois, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, and Texas. If you're moving to a different state than one we're including in the description, pay close attention to which board you're contacting. Let's go over some tips for emailing your state's dental hygiene licensing board. For starters, if English isn't your first language, you can compose your email in your native language and then translate it for clarity. We can assist with professional translations if needed to ensure your message is clear. You'll also want to include as much information as possible in your email when you send it. In the subject line, add 1 or 2 words explaining what your email is about. For example, you might write, licensing question for a dental hygienist from Brazil. In the body of your email, be sure to provide your full name, your phone number, and your email address to make it as easy as possible for the licensing board to respond to you. One last tip to keep in mind is the time and day to contact your licensing board. Most state licensing boards keep office hours between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Also, keep in mind that the United States has multiple time zones. For example, there's a 3-hour difference between Florida and California. Pay special attention to the contact links for New York and Illinois. These licensing boards utilize an online contact form rather than an email address. However, when you receive your response, it will be through your email. Your next step is to have your foreign credentials evaluated. To practice dental hygiene in the United States, you will need the equivalent of an associate degree in dental hygiene. The most common associate degrees for dental hygienists are the Associate of Science in Dental Hygiene and the Associate of Applied Science in Dental Hygiene. One of the most important steps towards obtaining your dental hygienist license in the U.S. is having your educational and professional experience looked over by a professional credential evaluation service. Credential evaluations are so important because each country has its own degrees and requirements for dental hygienists. For example, in Mexico, you might have earned your licenciatura en higiene dental, and you're not sure if you can use that degree to be a dental hygienist in the United States. A credential evaluation service will help you figure out if the degree and license from your home country will transfer to the US. Beyond that, you'll need to research the requirements in the specific state where you're planning to work. For example, in New York, candidates who hope to become dental hygienists are required to take a specific training to identify and report child abuse. In this case, even if your foreign credentials are accepted by the state of New York, a professional credential evaluation service could help you identify other requirements you might be missing. You can do your own research, but it's wise to contact the licensing board of the state you hope to work in and request a list of credential evaluation services they recommend. Some other great resources for finding trustworthy credential evaluation services are the National Association of Credential Licensing Services and the Association of International Credential Evaluation. Credential evaluation services provide different tiers of evaluations. A less detailed service might be described as a general evaluation or course-by-course evaluation, and these services typically cost less money. On the other hand, a comprehensive evaluation will require more time to gather in-depth information about your life experience, and it will probably cost more. For example, a company called Educational Credential Evaluators, the ECE, offers a range of services beginning with a general evaluation for $100 all the way up to their most comprehensive evaluation, which they call subject analysis, for $275. It's not unusual for credential evaluation services to charge up to $500 depending on your needs. It's worth noting that the ECE is specifically recommended by the Joint Commission on National Dental Examinations, the JCNDE. The processing time for credential evaluations can range from 5 days to 4 weeks, but luckily, most evaluation companies offer expedited service for an additional fee if you're in a hurry. Dental hygienists often deal with challenging procedures and need to keep their patients safe. As a result, state licensing boards will likely want a comprehensive credential evaluation of your education and experiences. You can expect the evaluation company to ask you for official sets of your academic record, which may include transcripts, report cards, and examination statements. You'll also need to provide documentation of your internships, work experience, and licenses from your home country. Credential evaluation companies require English translations of any foreign documents. These translations must be complete and word for word, so the best way to make sure they're accurate is to have them completed by a professional translation service. I'll explain the translation process in just a minute. One last thing to consider is that these agencies can send the evaluation directly to the dental hygiene board in the state you want to work in. In some cases, this can even be better because the licensing board may require that the evaluation and translation come directly from the evaluation or translation agencies to ensure the document's authenticity. Let's circle back to certified translations. One of the most important things to keep in mind is that even if your English is perfect, you can't translate your documents yourself. That said, typically evaluation agencies provide you with various options depending on whether you're going to have your documents translated in the US or abroad. Be sure to check with the evaluation agency because they may have certain requirements. Some evaluation agencies may even offer translation services for a fee. However, since we at US Language Services specialize in translation, our rates are usually far more competitive and can be as much as 50% less than what evaluation agencies charge. Also, If the agency or the board requires that the translation be sent directly to them, we're happy to do so. It's important to understand that certified translations do not indicate the direct correspondence between a degree obtained abroad and its equivalent in the US. Certified translations simply put the documentation in English so that you can send it and the evaluation agency or licensing board can review your academic and professional accreditations in English. Certified translations do not change the value of a grade obtained. For example, if you obtained a 10 in a subject in a country which uses a numerical grading system with a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, the certified translation will indicate that you have obtained a 10, not an A+. In addition to any document required for the credential evaluation process, you may want to have any letters of recommendation or certificates of work experience translated for future job applications as well. To obtain a certified translation from U.S. Language Services, you can place your order through our website or request a quote. You can simply send us digital versions of your documents. It isn't necessary to send the physical documents. You can either scan the documents or take photos of them. If you send us photographs, make sure that all 4 corners of the documents are visible. Now we'll discuss how to demonstrate your level of English proficiency. You might be wondering what English skills dental hygienists need to have. If you're hoping to start a career as a dental hygienist in the US, it's crucial to demonstrate your English reading and speaking abilities. Whether you're talking with patients in the dental chair or with other folks in your office, strong English skills are essential. Proficiency in English will allow you to communicate effectively with colleagues and patients, maintain accurate dental records, and engage in continuing education to stay current in the field and maintain your licensure. Strong English skills are particularly important for scheduling appointments, asking patients how they're feeling, explaining procedures, and providing post-treatment care instructions. Additionally, being able to take feedback from the dentist you're working with and discussing patient care plans is vital. 2 of the most widely recognized exams to demonstrate English proficiency are the Test of English as a Foreign Language and the International English Language Testing System. Both of these exams can help you prove your English proficiency and may assist you in securing employment after you obtain your license. Now let's turn our attention to the National Board Dental Hygiene Examination. No matter what state you're planning to work in, you will need to pass the National Board Dental Hygiene Examination, the NBDHE, which is administered by the Joint Commission on National Dental Examinations. Among people who are studying for the NBDHE, the exam is simply referred to as the boards or boards. In addition to this national exam, the majority of states will require you to take an exam that covers their specific laws and rules. We'll take a closer look at a few state exams later, but for now, let's focus on the boards. The exam is made up of 350 multiple choice questions that you'll have 7.5 hours to complete. The exam is administered on a computer and will be split into 2 separate sessions. The first session is 3.5 hours long with 61 questions covering the science behind dental hygiene, 115 questions covering the actual practice of dental hygiene, and 24 questions regarding community health and ongoing research about dental hygiene. So in total, the first session is 200 questions. The second session lasts 4 hours and contains 150 questions regarding specific patient cases. The second part of the exam features 12 to 15 patient cases dealing with both children and adults. For each patient case, you will be provided with a medical history, dental chart, periodontal charting, clinical photos, and radiographs to reference while answering the questions. It's important to note that wrong answers won't count against you, so you don't want to leave any questions blank. Just take a guess. For more details about the boards, the JCNDE provides a 33-page online PDF detailing the contents of the exam, how it will be scored, and other information. There are a few fees associated with the boards exam. For starters, there is a $565 fee that everyone has to pay. Included with this fee, the JCNDE will report your exam results directly to 3 state licensing boards on your behalf, as long as you request these reports to be made when you sign up for the boards. So if you're moving to New York, it could be wise to go ahead and have your exam results sent to the New Jersey and Massachusetts licensing boards, since they're all on the East Coast. If you want to have the results of your board exam sent to any other states you didn't list on your exam application, you'll have to pay a $50 results report fee for each additional report. You might also have to pay the $350 processing fee for international candidates. This fee is charged to anyone who graduated from a dental hygiene program that isn't in the United States or Canada. Finally, if you need to reschedule your testing appointment, the fee is $25. Keep in mind that you'll have to reschedule your appointment 24 hours in advance. In order to pass the exam, you'll need a score of 75 or higher. The scoring system is a bit confusing because a score of 75 doesn't mean you have to answer 75% of the questions on the exam correctly. As you remember from earlier, there's a total of 350 questions. Each correct answer you give adds 1 point to your raw score. At the end of the test, this raw score is converted to a scaled score, which ranges from 49 to 99. The raw score is converted to a scaled score because each person taking the NBDHE exam gets a different set of questions. Since some questions are harder than others, the conversion makes sure that everyone's score is fair. The important thing is to remember that you need at least a score of 75 to pass. After you've taken the exam, your results should be available to view through an online portal in 3 to 4 weeks. If you did not pass the exam on your first attempt, you'll be allowed to take it again after waiting 60 days. You can retake the boards up to 4 times in your first year. However, if you don't pass the exam after 4 attempts, you'll need to wait 12 months to retake it. One of the easiest ways to make sure you pass is to utilize all the resources available for studying online and on your phone. One of the most well-liked study websites is studentrdh.com. With this company, you'll need to pay for their resources, and there are different packages. The most affordable package is $297 and provides customers with physical books, colored illustrations, and a study planner. For $397, the company offers their on-demand review, which is geared towards online learning with over 150 video explanations, a full 8-hour, 350-question mock exam meant to simulate the real thing, and access to a smartphone app so you can study on the go. Dental Hygiene Seminars is another website and mobile app combination that prospective dental hygienists love. The company offers dental hygiene reference cards for $45, an extensive review book for $250, or a virtual review package for $400. The virtual review includes the review book, enhanced features in the mobile app, pre-recorded video lectures, and a mock board exam. But before purchasing these packages, download the mobile app because it's filled with free practice questions and explanations. Another great resource is a subreddit called Dental Hygiene. There you'll find an ongoing conversation between people who've already become registered dental hygienists and prospective dental hygienists. People regularly converse in the forum, so just post your inquiry and you'll receive responses from people in the dental hygiene community. You can also search Facebook for groups of other people who are studying for their boards exams. We'll add links to a few in the description below. Once you join a group, you can chat directly with registered dental hygienists and students. With the national exam out of the way, you'll need to take an individual state exam. Aside from the boards exams, most states have 1 or 2 additional exams for aspiring dental hygienists. The first type of exam is clinical and tests your ability to do hands-on dental work in a typodont, which is a model of a human mouth. The second type of exam pertains to each state's specific laws and rules. In California, for example, you'll need to pass the California Dental Hygiene Law and Ethics examination. The exam is made up of 60 questions, it's administered on a computer, and you'll be given 90 minutes to complete it. In order to pass the exam, you must answer 75% of the questions correctly. The fee to take the exam is $26.50. If you're a refugee, asylee, or special immigrant in California, you might be eligible to have your licensing process expedited. To qualify, applicants must provide evidence of their status, such as Form I-94, or special immigrant visa or permanent resident card. To see if this could work for you, contact the Dental Hygiene Board of California or email refugee@dca.ca.gov for assistance. We'll include that email in the description. In Florida, you'll be required to take 2 state-specific exams. First, you'll have to pass the 2-part American Board of Dental Examiners ADEX dental hygiene exam, which is often called the ADEX mannequin exam. In the first part of the exam, you'll use a model mouth to demonstrate your ability to remove tartar, measure gum pockets, and manage oral tissue. This part of the exam is 2 hours in length. The second part of the exam tests your ability to diagnose and create treatment plans using computer images and x-rays. ADEX actually created a detailed YouTube video demonstrating what the clinical part of the exam is like, and we'll include a link to that video in the description box. In this part of the exam, candidates will be given 4 hours. Together, the fee for these exams is $1,150, which includes 1 complimentary retake. For these exams, you'll need to score 75% or higher to pass. In Florida, you'll also need to take the Florida Laws and Rules examination. The exam has 64 multiple choice questions and you'll be given 90 minutes to complete it. The exam fee is $105 and you'll need to answer 75% of the questions correctly to pass. As you're researching the Florida Laws and Rules examination, you might find information for other exams by the same name. This is because the state of Florida modifies their laws and rules examinations for each different licensed profession. Because of this, it's really important to pay close attention to which Florida laws and rules exam you're researching. We'll include a link in the description box to the exam that specifically pertains to dental hygiene. In Illinois, hopeful dental hygienists will need to pass a clinical exam. Luckily, the Illinois Board of Dentistry accepts clinical exams from 5 different organizations. The acronyms for these organizations are the SRTA, NERB, CITA, WREB, and CRDTS. Each one of those exams are slightly different but aim to test your clinical skills. The Massachusetts Board of Registration in Dentistry requires prospective dental hygienists to pass one of 3 different exams. Some of these overlap with the exams mentioned for Illinois, but those acronyms are ADEX, CRDTS, and SRTA. In addition to taking one of these exams, you'll need to pass the Massachusetts Dental Ethics and Jurisprudence exam. Past exams have contained 64 multiple choice questions, however, they may vary from year to year. That said, you'll be relieved to hear that the jurisprudence exam is open book, and the state of Massachusetts provides a link to resources to study. In New Jersey, you'll need to take the Commission on Dental Competency Assessment, or CDCA. In recent years, the CDCA began administering the same ADEX dental hygiene exam we mentioned earlier when talking about Florida's state-specific exams, and the same information applies as with Florida. To make things easy, the state of New York also requires the ADEX exam. So you can refer to the website links for the ADEX we'll provide below. We'll also include a link to the New York State license requirements for dental hygienists. One thing that's unique about New York is that you'll need to take a child abuse reporting course that's approved by the New York State Education Department. We'll include a link to a list of course providers in the description. In Texas, you'll have the option of taking an exam with the 3 organizations we already mentioned, the CRDTS, ADEX, and SRTA. Once you've obtained your license, you'll need to hold on to it for the rest of your career. After passing the boards and a state exam, you'll need to take some steps every 2 or 3 years to keep your registered dental hygienist license up to date. Each state is different and has its own fees, continuing education requirements, and license renewal guidelines, so it's wise to do your own research depending on which state you want to practice in. So let's take a look at the specific requirements dental hygienists need to maintain their licenses in just a few of the most popular states for immigrants. In California, dental hygienists are required to complete 24 hours of continuing education every 2 years. A minimum of 2 of those 25 hours should be in regards to infection control, and 2 of the hours should be reviewing the California Dental Practice Act. The fee to maintain an RDH license in California will be $300 every 2 years. Dental hygienists in Florida will need to complete 22 hours of continuing education and 2 hours in medical error training for each 2-year licensing period. Additionally, dental hygienists in Florida must take a 2-hour course in domestic violence once every 6 years. To renew your license, you have to complete an online form and pay a $105 fee. In Illinois, all dental hygienists must take 36 hours of approved continuing education courses for each 3-year licensing period. When you renew your license, you'll need to include an affidavit stating that you completed the required continuing education. The fee to maintain your RDH license will be $150 every 3 years. Now, in Massachusetts, dental hygienists are required to complete 20 continuing education units every 2 years. The cost to maintain your license will only be $60 every 2 years. Next, in New Jersey, the State Board of Dentistry dictates that dental hygienists must complete 20 continuing education credits every 2 years. To maintain your license in New Jersey, you'll need to pay a $120 fee each 2-year period. Moving on to New York, practicing dental hygienists must complete 24 credit hours of continuing education every 3 years. Additionally, as a registered dental hygienist in New York, you are required to pay an $88 renewal fee every 3 years. Lastly, in Texas, dental hygienists will need to renew their license every 2 years. The fee to renew your license is $226, and every 2-year renewal period, dental hygienists will need to complete 24 hours of appropriate continuing education. Now you understand that becoming a licensed dental hygienist in the United States is achievable. Although the journey might seem challenging, it is certainly worthwhile in the long run. Once you complete this process, you can start your career as a dental hygienist, and you'll probably earn a higher income as a licensed dental hygienist compared to non-licensed roles. We hope this information is useful, and whether you're in the midst of getting a license, requesting a visa, or carrying out any other process that requires a translation, you can count on U.S. Language Services. We'd be happy to help. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.